Hello everyone, welcome and thank you for joining us. We're looking at our spring sports seasons, which are right around the corner. Hard to believe with the recent snow that we received, but they are right around the corner. Our winter sports seasons are winding down. Hopefully they'll continue on for a few more weeks, but in anticipation of our spring sports, we need to just take a few moments just to make sure we're all ready to go. After spring break, our seasons will be kicking off. First off, for those who don't know me, I'm Matthias O'Brien. I'm the Activities Director here at Cotter, and Jason Klug, my assistant. Feel free to reach out to us at any time. We mentioned at the fall eligibility meeting that this is kind of a work in progress. I've really enjoyed the opportunity to work with Jason, and I feel that things are headed in a great direction. Certainly there are things we're trying to improve, and if there are things that you've noticed that we can do better, please reach out to us. Happy to have that dialogue as we look to provide opportunities for your son and daughter. So I'm going to turn it over to Jason right now. He's going to talk a little bit about our activities calendar and our website, our Three Rivers website, which is very useful, especially the spring sports, given all the changes that happen. He'll also talk a little bit about physicals and a couple other key points as we get into our spring seasons.
Hello everybody, I'm Jason Klug, if you don't know me, working in athletics with Matthias. I'm going to also be the track and field sprinters coach this spring, so if you go to a track meet, you'll see me there. Don't be afraid to ask me any other questions though, as we lead up to all the spring seasons. I just want to show you a little bit about our schedule online. If you go to threeriversconference.org, you can kind of see all of our area schools on there, but obviously you want to pay attention to the Cotter schools on the top there where my mouse cursor is hovering over. If you click that, it's going to lead you to our website, and you're going to see on the right of your screen the schedules that will pertain the most to you. So let's say you're a softball parent, scroll all the way down to your season, and you see softball girls varsity, and right below that you see the varsity practice one. You can click them both, and then it will populate both of them into the same one. You can click view, and when that pops up, it shows all the practices. We just put in the first week of practice, so you can see at 4 o'clock to 5:45 the first group goes, and that will be for all 7th through 12th grade softball players, and Pat Bowen will explain that more later. Look to your right on location. Obviously with the spring, there may be some time where it's raining outside and you need to know, do I pick up my daughter from the field or do I pick her up from the gym? And just look on the right side of our location. Obviously the first week we're going to be in the gym with snow still on the ground, and then you'll see on our first game we have is Tuesday, April 4th, Lewiston Altura, which is a home game. I will show you an example when you look for bus times. Obviously our girls play tomorrow at the Civic Center, so let's go to February 27th. You can hover over the basketball girls varsity tournament, and it will show you leaves at 5:15 p.m. So this is a great website to navigate what your son's or daughter's schedule is. And also you want to take a look at when you go to view schedules, and let's go back to softball. So you're not constantly having to look at the schedule, see if there's any changes. On the top right of your screen, you see a subscribe button. What that will do is anytime we make a change to either the practice schedule, the bus time, if there is a change in game, if we have to postpone it, when is that rescheduled, you'll get an email right away as soon as the change is made to your email about what that change is. And you can also email yourself, and you can include a PDF or a live link, so you'll never have to go back to this website again. You just click on the link that it sends you to, and you'll always have an up-to-date schedule. Hopefully that made sense. As always, my inbox is always open. Phone call away, jklug@cotterschools.org. If you have any other questions about how the schedules work, I would love to help you out, just to make sure this spring is a seamless transition for everybody. All right, thank you so much. On to sports physicals. Every athlete in the spring season will need to have an up-to-date physical. If you had one within the last 3 years, you should be good. However, it would be a good idea to email me with any questions you have about your physical. We should have, if you were a fall or winter athlete, you should be good, but as always, it's good to double check. There is a physical form online that MSHSL has you guys fill out, or you can fill out through MSHSL. That's on our Cotter website. So take a peek there if you need anything there. For Rambler cards, our Cotter boosters do a ton of things for us in terms of equipment, jerseys, balls, everything you can imagine. And special events, obviously, for our senior night and parent night, they take care of all those expenses. They really do a great job and really are supportive for our AD office. And each family, so if you had a son or daughter in fall or winter already play, this doesn't pertain to you. If this is your first season as a Cotter athlete, you will need to purchase 6 cards for $50, so you'll get an additional one free. And that can be purchased either at the business office or in the AD office with Matthias and myself. We can handle that for you. You can do cash or check, and if you use check, just do Cotter boosters for the recipient. All right, moving on to Cotter Athletics travel release form. Obviously, we want to be very careful when we have kids going to and from events. So if you are going to take your kid from the event that they're going to, please fill out this form so we know people that are coming back on the bus and who's supposed to be there and who's not. This is obviously for liability reasons, so please take note of this. This will be on the Cotter website under the athletics. So there's a sports form on there, and you just click it and it goes right to a Google link and you just fill it out. So if you have any questions on that as well, please let me know and I can send that form to you directly. All right.
All right, thanks to Mr. Klug for all that great information. Obviously, this website, especially during the spring seasons, is so important. All the different schedule changes that we'll have due to weather. Just stay on this site and make sure you're up to date with what's going on with your child's team. I know many of you will use the app on your phone. If you do that, I just know from navigating it myself that you often need to pull down on the screen in order to update the information. Just opening and closing the app sometimes does not give you the most current information. So please make sure that you're doing that. If you're watching this video and you're thinking to yourself, you've yet to register your child for the sport, please do so as soon as possible. You can go to the CPC or our website in order to get the spring sports registration link. Anytime we have registration for a sport, the sooner you can do it, the more helpful it is for us. Knowing how many students are going to participate in a sport just helps us to prepare for that upcoming season. When you sign your child up, you're going to see some opportunities to see what the role is for the parents who are involved and also the coaches and the players. But just take a read through here, please, and make sure you understand kind of the expectations from the Minnesota State High School League. Fan behavior, obviously parents are often fans at games, and I would just like to thank our winter sports season fans. I think we had a really good season. Could we be better? I think we can, but in general, I think we made great strides in this area. We'll talk a little bit more about this as we go through the video, but again, thank you to those parents who are really thinking about how their behavior is affecting the experience for their child and trying to help it be a positive one for their kids. Also, I would say our student section, for the most part, was really good this year, being respectful to the opponent and to the officials, and so thank you to our students. Our student athletes also agree to some things for the Minnesota State High School League, so please have them read through kind of what they're agreeing to. I would say the two that I'd like to highlight, one is academics. We want our kids to be achieving a high standard in the classroom. When they're not, we'll be working with these students and the parents and the teachers to try to help get that child back on track. If the student continues to struggle, we'll look at other interventions that we can do to help them get back on track. For the most part, we'd really like that student to be able to keep participating, but also, again, we need to make sure that we're achieving a high standard in the classroom as well. The other thing that I think is super important, and our coaches, I know, talk to our kids a lot about this, is just that they're making good decisions off the field when it comes to drugs and alcohol. And so, you know, just for them personally, obviously, to making good choices is really important, but when you've made a commitment to a team, to a sport, obviously there are consequences for actions if students are using drugs and alcohol. So these come down from the Minnesota State High School League, and we'll adhere to those rules. And if any other measures are needed, we will look into those as well. When you go to a sporting event, you really have a choice to be one of four things, and we talked a lot about this at our winter sports eligibility meeting. And again, I thank the efforts of our players and our coaches and fans for really thinking about this. I had a lot of people talk to me about this talking point. And so really you can choose to be a player, an official, a coach, and a parent. And I know many of us do more than one role, but really we're asking you to pick one at a time. I think this is really important. If you're trying to be a coach and a parent at the same time, this can be often a difficult thing. And so when you go to an event, pick which one you're going to be. This headline right here, this is actually from my inbox earlier in January, but Tuesday, February 14th, there was a shortage of officials. And he said, the head of officials emailed us and said, we are now 13 varsity officials short after constant begging. I've been working every angle to try to secure more, from lacrosse to Mankato to the Metro. Everyone is stacked. So we're seeing less and less officials. We've had to move games from one time to another in order to accommodate officials not being available, and it continues to be an issue. So one thing we can just look to do is to support those officials at our contests, not to be yelling and screaming at them. And I know that some of our parents actually have become involved in becoming an official themselves at a youth level, which is outstanding. The more people we can get involved and understand and having that experience and just knowing how difficult it is just helps to offer some perspective as well. When it comes to playing time, I know this is a big point of conversation, and it came up a few times in the winter. I think we had a lot of positive experiences with this. It's not a perfect situation, and it just really depends on our sport, and the number of kids that are participating also puts pressure on playing time. In a sport like cross country or often track, there's more opportunities than in a sport that has a certain amount of time allocated towards the game and only a certain amount of players who could be on the court or on the field. And so these situations can be quite different from sport to sport. But we really just ask you, when your child is feeling frustrated, what should you do as a parent? Number one, I would encourage them to keep working. I would encourage you to have at least 24 hours after a game or a meet before you talk to the coach about playing time. And really, I would encourage the child to do this. Sports can teach a lot of lessons about life if we're really thinking about doing that. But when we, as parents, take the place of the child going to talk to the coach, we really void that opportunity for our child. So encourage the child to go talk to the coach about playing time if there are issues there, or just even any sort of communication or expectation that they're not understanding. Encourage the child to go talk to the coach. I put in here, when should a parent contact the coach or AD about playing time? And really, probably never. I would say that parents, what is the appropriate time to go talk to a coach or an AD? I would say if there's an issue with safety, if you think there's a really big concern that needs to be addressed in regards to student safety, physical, mental, emotional, please contact somebody involved with the program. But other than that, really, we should be encouraging our children to advocate for themselves. A couple things, how can we be a good sports parent? Try not to break down the game with your child on the way home. The ride home sometimes can be a very volatile place, and often just letting the child be, and if they want to talk about the game, let them bring it up. Yelling instructions during the game can be very difficult for the child. They're receiving lots of different stimulus from the game, from their coaches, and so letting them just be in the game and listening to their coaches is really important, rather than trying to yell instructions from the field, from the stands. Avoid being a bulldozer or a helicopter parent. What does that mean? That means really we're going ahead and plowing away and making it safe and trying to take away all the different obstacles that might happen for our children. But really, these are one of the benefits of playing sports, right, is that our children are going to experiencing these kind of highs and lows and deal with adversity, and learning to overcome that adversity is really an important piece of being in a sport. So as a parent, if we're being a helicopter parent or bulldozer parent, we're not allowing them those opportunities to learn from those situations. I would really encourage you after a game to say things like, I love watching you play. I noticed you being a great teammate. Your effort was outstanding. I think these are some examples of things that we can say to kids that speak more to just character type things than necessarily performance type things that are happening on the field. Greg Bergey's a coach at Lake City, and I use a lot of this material in the winter, but I really like this. But your child's coach is not perfect. Your child's referee is not perfect. Your child's teacher is not perfect. Your child is not perfect. You are not perfect. We're all a work in progress. Show class, show respect, lead by example. I think we all just need to keep perspective on sport and the opportunities we have. We're very fortunate, and our kids have sports in their lives to learn a lot of valuable lessons, so let's encourage that to happen. I'm just going to take a minute here to watch Steve Curry. He's the coach of the Golden State Warriors, and he just has some perspective on parents and their role in sports. And so it's just a quick 2-minute video we'll take a look at, and then we'll wrap things up.
A big piece of what PCA does is working with sports parents and getting them to understand their role in their kids' sports experience. So I'm curious if you have any advice as a sports parent for the folks.
I do. I got plenty of advice. Keep your mouth shut. Really, just shut up. It's the best thing. When I played youth sports, I had the worst temper, and I had an awful temper, and it was embarrassing. And my mom and dad would come to the games. They wouldn't come to all of them, but they'd come to a lot of them. And my dad was he was always very quiet at these games, and I'd make an out in baseball or give up a hit, whatever, and throw a tantrum. And my dad would always just be very patient. He didn't say anything, and once I got home, and calmed down a little bit, he'd talk to me and why'd you get so upset? Maybe it would be a good idea to try to be a little less emotional during the game. But having coached my kids in junior high, I was just blown away by how many parental coaches there were during the game. And how can you possibly play at 10 years old when you got 12 people yelling at you? You got the 2 coaches, you got your parents, and you got 8 other fans. Keep your eye on the ball. Don't. What's going on? What's that? The kids are going to learn just from playing and from their coach and the atmosphere. And if you just support them as parents, they're going to feel so much more comfortable. I'm sure all of you have experienced this, but to me, it's really profound, the impact that my parents had on me just by backing off and letting me play and letting me figure things out.
All right, hopefully you found that video worthwhile. I know I have a lot of respect for Coach Kerr and what he's done in his coaching career. I just think he offers great perspective on sports and the role that parents play in sports as well. He works quite closely with what's called Positive Coaching Alliance. If you saw that website there at the end of the video, it's a great resource for parents and coaches of youth sports and how we can create a positive environment for our kids. It's just a couple other things here as we wind down. First off, again, just a ton of changes that happened due to the weather in the spring. Please keep up to date with the website. Also, the text alerts. If you have selected on fax the ability to get text alerts, we've used this feature quite a bit in the winter season. We are limited to 280 characters, so often the texts are relatively short, but try to shed some light on some information that you might find valuable and timely. So please make sure that you have text alerts available through fax. We will update a lot of information that way. In addition to this meeting, you also will meet with your individual teams. These are really important meetings, a chance for you to meet your child's coaches and get their expectations for the upcoming season. So please try to make it. Track and field will already be this Thursday at 4 o'clock. From 7th to 9th graders and new track athletes, they're asking that the parents and players are there in person. If you're not able to make it in person, or you're a returning player who would rather just watch it via video, it will be available via the website. The link will be made available, so please check it out. and make sure that you're either attending in person or online or watching the recording later on. Softball and baseball will meet at 5:30 on Wednesday, March 15th, so right after spring break. They will already have had a few practices, but the softball team will meet in the small gym and the baseball team in the big gym. And then the tennis team will also meet on March 15th, but at 6:30, and they'll meet in the lower level of the John Net. These meetings, again, super important just to get the expectations for your sport and from your coaches, and just to make sure we're all on the same page as we kick off a new season. That's really it for now. Again, here's our contact information. If you ever need to get a hold of us, please do so. We love hearing from people. And I know I've said a couple things in the video that really encourage parents not to address athletic directors or coaches. But if you have a respectful way of communicating to, and you have suggestions about what we could do better as far as a department, and you're willing to come in and have a constructive conversation, we really enjoy those conversations. We're always trying to improve here in the office. Again, I think things are headed in a good direction. We still have a lot of work to do when it comes to just helping our athletes have a positive experience, helping them grow as athletes, and more importantly as people. So please don't hesitate. Give us a call, send us an email, stop by, say hello. But we really look forward to our spring sports season. We've had a lot of successes so far, and we got a ton of work to do too. So also in regards to that work, this summer will be an important part of that process. We'll have announcements about about summer activities coming out in mid-March, so please be on the lookout for that. Really an important time for it to help our athletes get bigger, faster, and stronger. So that's it for now. If you got any questions or comments, please feel free to reach out. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and we'll see you at your team meetings and see you around the track and the fields very soon, and the courts. Thank you. Bye-bye.